I have a dream that one day, right here in Rocky Mountain, North Carolina, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will meet at the table of brotherhood, knowing that out of one blood God made all men to dwell upon the face of the earth. I have a dream.
So right now I'm invested in a really unique project entitled When MLK and the KKK Met in Raleigh. And this documents an event that hardly anybody knows about. Dr. Martin Luther King actually spoke on our campus July 31st, 1966. And this has been lost from history because the KKK staged an 1,800-person counter-protest right down the streets of Raleigh. And so in downtown Fayetteville Street, which many of us know is the very heart of Raleigh, 1,800 Klansmen dressed up in full regalia to protest Dr. King's presence here. One highlight of this is to remind the NC State community of the important role it played in the civil rights movement, but also to remind us of the painful history of white supremacy that surrounded this. And so we've been able to uncover a number of 150 photographs that had never been even developed that we'll be showing and tell the story of Dr. King's visit. And it's an important one, particularly at this time in our history, to look back and have a better understanding of kind of what this campus has always been and what it hopes to be. What it becomes is kind of this embarrassment about the fact that the worst of North Carolina rose up at the same time. And so to think about Klansmen coming from all across the state to counter-protest Dr. King, gathering at Nash Square downtown, going around the Capitol and driving down. Fayetteville Street, if you can picture it today, was bumper to bumper with cars, not because the march caused a traffic jam, but because people showed up as if it was basically a drive-in theater to get the best spots to see the Klan march past. And so it's always become kind of difficult for people who have North Carolina ties and roots to think about how you tell that kind of a story. Dr. King was surprised and stunned by the kind of reception he got here by a Klan rally because, like so much of the nation, he regarded North Carolina as it was as one of the most progressive southern states. So for him to experience this Klan rally was very startling and surprising to him, and he went away and kept talking about it for weeks, saying that for a state to be as progressive as North Carolina, to have the largest Klan rallies was overwhelming to him. Here's what we now know about the facts. In 1966, over half of the members of the KKK were from North Carolina. That's more than all other states combined. And so you're talking about the very hotbed and heart of this kind of activity at this particular time in history. Once you get into the idea of talking about Dr. King being here, you have to also talk about kind of this white supremacist backlash that rose up at that particular time. What happens to these kind of energies? What happens to these kind of protesters and feelings? Do they just go away? Do they resurface? And if they do resurface, how? Almost nobody on our campus had any idea that Dr. King had even come here and spoke. So if you go into Reynolds Coliseum today and you see it full for a women's basketball game, that's exactly what it looked like when Dr. King spoke here in 1966. What did that actually look like? Well, just being introduced led to a 5-minute consistent round of applause for Dr. King. He had to wait 5 minutes till he could even start to speak. And he didn't just breeze through town. He spoke for 55 minutes. He was interrupted at least 33 times. And he said very profound things that still apply to us today. So Dr. King is a really important presence in our entire world. And to think that he had kind of this important moment during this time on our campus is unique. And so it started out in that kind of way, just kind of getting to know our own campus a little bit better. And I often find whether you're a graduate student or undergraduate student, even 4 or 5 years isn't enough to really understand everything that's happened here historically. This is one small way to get a sense of the history of our university. You don't have to think about Dr. King speaking at the March on Washington or think about the impact he had in great marches down in Selma. You can get an understanding of Dr. Martin Luther King by simply thinking about what he actually did right here in Raleigh on our campus at NC State University. And in that way, history kind of becomes personable and it comes right up front and it's something that's as close as your hands right in front of you.